Welcome to a new Tour Confidential presented by FootJoy, the #1 shoe in golf. I'm Jeff Ritter, in for Jessica Marksbury. Joining me this week are two of my Golf.com colleagues. It's Sean Zock and Marika Washishin. Sean, by the way, owes me a burrito after that Michigan-Wisconsin Big Ten championship game. We'll get to my order later. But guys, first I want to talk about this week on tour. It's the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It is, of course, the first edition of this event since Arnie's passing, and we have 14 of the top 25 players in the world participating. We'll start with you, Marika. What do you think? Are you happy with that number? Is this a good turnout for Arnie?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's been a lot of criticism from both players and media about why aren't these top players like Dustin Johnson and Jordan Spieth playing in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. They should be there to honor him. And to be 100% honest, I don't really think that this week is about the players who are playing in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It's about the event itself. And if that means that 14 of the top 25 are there, I think that's great. If it meant that 5 of the top 25 were there, it would still be great, because this is not about those players this week. They have to realize that, and I think they do realize that, the ones who are not playing, it's scheduling, it's all these other things. It's about Arnold this week, and I think it will be regardless of who shows up.
So, to play devil's advocate, Sean, Billy Horschel tweets last week that he was disappointed to not see a bigger turnout among the top 25 and called out his fellow pros on Twitter. Does he have a point?
Oh, he totally does. I mean, 14 isn't that many. You'd like to see maybe a number closer to 20. 20 out of 25 would make it kind of like a WGC field. And this event gives 3 years of job security to the winner on the PGA Tour. That's a big deal. That's like a WGC, and I think that's what Arnie's event, Jack's event, these big-time events that we want to give a lot of significance to, that's what these players are supposed to be there for. It's tough, though. If you have a huge field, the middle of March, you have one in early March, you have one at the end of March, when are these guys going to take a break?
Yeah, these WGCs, I think the bookend, going to Mexico and then having the match play and then having this in between those two causes the scheduling problems, or at least makes it difficult for a lot of these top guys.
Especially going into the Masters, you know, these guys have sort of their eye on the prize. The first major of the year is coming up. They want to have a little bit of time to iron out the kinks in their game, like Rory McIlroy. Of course, he's going to play the next couple of weeks because he's been out for so long. But the rest of them, they need to save up some strength for Augusta.
Yep.
Bottom line, it's just a really tough spot in the schedule to force the best players into playing. And you don't want to have to force them. You want them to do it on their own merit. And, you know, they just didn't do it this year.
Right. Well, for those who are there, we expect a very heartfelt kind of week and celebration of Arnie's life. One other player who won't be at the Arnold Palmer this week, news that came out late breaking at the end of last week, is Tiger Woods. It was a brief statement on his website. He's out of the Arnold Palmer, and there's no timetable for his return. Did you find anything new in that statement? What did you make of it?
No, not shocking. I think that the earliest we're going to see Tiger, if we see him this year, is going to be at the Masters, and who knows what's going to happen then. I don't think he misses it 2 years in a row. I'm not surprised that he's just sort of taking a step back.
I think Tiger showing up at Arnie's event would be more of a distraction than anything at some point. And yeah, it is too bad, because if you look at what Tiger's trying to do this year, trying to get to Augusta, trying to get healthy and get his game, his swing and everything ready for Augusta, this is always the tournament that he plays well in and kind of tunes up for that run up to the major. And he's not going to play it, and he didn't play the Honda, and he didn't play the Genesis.
Yeah. Clock is ticking.
Yeah. When was the last time that he gave us good news?
You just wonder, too. I mean, if he doesn't make it to the Masters, it kind of, to me, it feels like we're looking at a lost season. If he can't get there in time, the summer's going to come fast.
I don't want to jump to that conclusion yet, because you can tell that he's thinking about it. He wants to get back, and he wants to be healthy, and he had that crazy schedule set up between January and February to force his way into getting ready. So I think his mind is there. His back's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, one more topic to kick around this morning. We've got a full-blown youth movement on tour. This is also, I feel like, becoming an annual tradition. It seems like every year there's new young players that are winning. But this year we have 12 of the 17 winners on tour in their 20s. Is this youth movement the type of movement that stays for good, or are we just going to keep churning through new young players every year?
I think it's great to see these young guys playing well. You know, Sean and I had a conversation last week on the podcast about the young women on the LPGA and how young they are in their teens, some of them, and they're excelling. And I think it's awesome to see that mirrored in the PGA Tour, because I think for a while you sort of had some, not middle-aged, but, you know, some late 20s, early 30s was the norm. And I think what you're seeing now is the young guys, I think there's such an emphasis on fitness and being strong. Sure. And that's something that maybe the older guys, they don't have that same kind of muscle strength as they once did 10 years before. So maybe that's what you're seeing. I don't know if it's just like an age thing or if it's like a fitness thing.
But the old guys have guile and experience.
I guess so, but I don't know. Can you compete with the sheer muscle on tour? I don't know. I don't know what
the length of some of these young guys is just incredible when you put it up against the likes of like a Brendan Steele or Sergio, even late in his career. Like, these guys have been amazing ball strikers, and they got to the PGA Tour on that and putting and chipping and everything, but length dominates the game nowadays. I don't think the youth trend is going anywhere. I think it's not even that new if you think about who we had coming up 2 years ago. We had Jordan Spieth coming up and his buddy Justin Thomas and Daniel Berger and Emiliano Grillo. These guys were the rookies of the year that time. And I think now they're just starting to win. And I think the next thing for them is to dominate the majors. And I think every sign is pointing to that.
Yeah, it feels like every year it gets harder for a guy like Phil. We talk about, can Tiger ever come back? It's going to be harder for him to win than it's ever been before because of these young players emerging. But the one place I still think experience is the Masters. That's the one place where you can have a throwback winner. We'll do that in another show. We'll leave it there for now. That's it for Tour Confidential, presented by FootJoy, the #1 shoe in golf. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week.